Peace, 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 my great Bible. First, the last. What's up? This is your guy, Barry, aka Barry Israel. Listen, I want to bring up a subject today that I think everybody is missing the whole point. What's going on with Makhia, Bryant, with that shooting? My great virus. It isn't about the people. It isn't about the police. That's what I meant. It's not about the police. It's not about trying to demonize her for her actions and what happened. The whole point that everybody's missing in this whole thing is the fact that as the story has come out, she was a foster child in a foster parent's home. The other people involved were foster kids that were also there. The other young ladies, they were all part of the system. There was no friend, nobody that went to that house and that happened. They were all already in there. So we're missing a point of what has been going on in that household for the young lady to have to get to that point to react like that. She's already at 16, obviously in that foster care system. And that's the biggest issue that people are overlooking. What's going on with the foster care system? What is happening to our children in this system? What is going on? What type of homes are they going into? It's a bigger picture here, but we're chosen to look at it from the domain of, oh, it's the police with a shooting again. Instead of why did it even escalate that far over some chores, which the foster parent would have assigned to the kids or the young adults to do. So why would a fight about chores insinuate for her to react that bad or that harshly to where her life was taken? My great vibers. First, we don't know what this young lady was going through in that home or any other foster home she's been in because they haven't talked about it. Second, we don't know what type of foster parent that was, and I'm not blaming, I'm just bringing another perspective. Was she an instigating type person? For it to escalate that far, for a young lady to have to run and get a knife, to do all of that, why did it even get that far? Why weren't the police called earlier if it was that? If things weren't, and if you are the foster parent giving chores, assigning chores, there's no need for them to be fighting about it. But you have to look at the whole circumstance. Was she being picked on in there? Let's not sit here and make her the face of a beast, this young lady. Like she deserved what she got. No, she was a foster child going through a crazy system. But at the same time, first and foremost, she was a child of God. And now, to me, she has her angel wings because she no longer has to be in that system, a part of this system that's about to reset. She can go and move on to better and different horizons, different dimensions, and get out of whatever she was going through. But it's unfortunate that she had to die under such brutality. That's what we're not looking at, under such circumstances, not blaming anyone that had to come respond, because it's bigger than that. But the narrative is focused on that instead of what was that young lady's life like going through the foster care system. How long was she in this system? What was taking place in that home that escalated that situation and go that far? Had those kids been picking on her? She looked like a sweet young lady. Didn't look like she was going through a lot. Appeared to be happy. But there's no happiness in a system like that. You don't even want to begin to think and understand about the things that happens to kids that are in those systems. It's horrific. And to me, this is another way for us as people to take a look at the foster care system. What's going on with our children? I don't care what color, denomination, what ethnic group, whatever. Our children that are in this system. We need to be looking at that. We need to be looking at what homes are they going into. It's bigger than just, oh, a young lady deserved to be shot because she was yielding a knife. We need to look at the bigger picture of what this young lady was going through, what was happening with her, instead of trying to demonize her, the police for the response. Was it appropriate? I'm looking at the bigger horizon, bigger than that. And it's what's going on in this foster care system. What was this young lady's life really like leading up to that? Let's not make it seem like she got what she deserved when she already probably had a life of pain and hell in this antichrist world system that we come into. 1 John chapter 4, 1 through 6 tells you it's there. It's in the word. But like the video I put out prior, the last video, I talked about the global reset. We come into this. You just got to figure out and understand that. They don't tell you. You have to read. You have to read energy. You have to read people. I'm sitting back. I'm not going for the narrative that they're trying to put out there. I'm reading other energies. As information start trickling in all of a sudden now, that it wasn't just random girls going to the house. She was fighting with other foster care girls that were in that house over chores. How did it escalate that far if there was an adult that's supposed to be overseeing? And of course, if that's your home, you're going to sign those things. So why did it even get that far? It was something bigger going on that happened in that home. But people were looking at the narrative just to demonize this young lady, as if she deserved what she got because the police was trying to protect someone else. Who was protecting Makhia all these years? Who was protecting her in that home for it to even escalate like that? These are the things that we're not asking. But I'm going to tell you something, my great vibe. As you see these horses behind me, the horses are riding. And this is what they're not telling you. The horses are riding. And you see that white horse in the middle. The horses are riding right now. They riding out hard. And there's more things going on in my next video that I'm going to bring, talking about the energy within you, the real disconnect and what's really going on. If you can't understand by this point where we're at and where this is going, there's no help for you. There is no help for you if you don't understand at that point. And maybe you don't want to. Maybe you want to choose to be in that darkness. But what you got to understand, if you understand revelation, this darkness that's coming in now, that's playing out, but the new reset that's coming, all you got to do is Google, YouTube and stuff about the global reset. They're not telling you this for no reason. It's part disclosure, but they're just not telling you what's really behind it. This, if you understand revelation, something that these false prophets, the paid ones and the not so paid ones have always perpetrated, they stay away from that. They stay away from that. But Jesus in Revelation 19:20 tells you, this is the only book you should be worried about. The revelation. Don't worry about all that other stuff. In these days and time, this is the only book that matters now. Revelation. Go back to some of my videos on my YouTube channel, Great Vibing, and I'm breaking some of those things down in probably the last 3 or 4 videos from the last 2 I've made. From the beatbox, prior to the beatbox video I put out. Look at some of those videos. I was breaking down scripture, revelation with current events. That's where we're at, to give people an idea. We're there. These are something the false prophets are not telling about being a revelation where that last seal has been broken. The horses are riding. All of a sudden this year you see nothing but a lot of violence. All of a sudden 2020 try to act like it was bad, but you can have all this violence that we're having now. We're going into a different direction. And you have to basically choose the side you're going to end up on. But what you have to remember and understand, what I'm trying to tell you and bring to your attention, people, is that this will be the forever cycle. There is no going back. There is no redoing. There will be no more resets. This is it. This cycle is a forever cycle. So if you want to continue to be in hell forever, that's where you're going to be. If you want to continue to be in that energy, that inner God and inner goddess, not E-N-E-R-G-Y, but I-N-N-E-R-G, energy, that inner God and goddess within you. This is what this is about. That's been the disconnect, letting you know that it's within you, not somewhere way out in the world that's going to come and save you. Some fantasy stuff that they flipped around, flipped the script and mispreached, basically, and misrepresent. Them people are paying the price right now. You don't see a lot of the celebrities around, a lot of these pops. You don't hardly hear from them now. You might see a post that they say they're being made by them. You don't see these cats around no more. Celebrities, Denzel, Samuel, none of these cats are around no more. And now you see a lot of celebrity deaths. You see, this year alone, 5 African presidents have died. Things are going on. We have to wake up. We have to understand we are in a reset. But getting back to Makhia, it's not about the police. Let's not make that the narrative. Let's not make that the narrative, y'all. Let's understand what this young lady was going through in her life. At 16, how many foster homes has she been in? What was going on in that foster home at the time? That's the things we need to be looking at about that young lady's life. Not trying to demonize her. Not trying to say police was justified in anything. That's not the issue. The issue is, it's bigger what's going on in those foster care systems. Because if that's the case, we need to take a look at it now and go and rescue some of those kids in a lot of ways. But that young lady, her soul, her spirit got out of this matrix before it totally collapsed. And she has a new fresh start. You can believe that. It wasn't about death for her. Even though she died tragically, she already lived a tragic life in that foster care system. And we're not looking at that. We're looking at demonizing her as a young lady with a knife in her hand. When she probably had a knife in her back her whole life. Probably had a knife in her back living in that home. That's what we need to be looking at. Not demonizing this young, black, beautiful woman. Let's get our minds right, y'all. Let's get our minds right. This is your guy, Barry Israel.